what you do in that particular form factor. It's a whole new canvas to paint on, but it's a new opportunity with a new technology and a new device to create a new kind of experience that can reach a new kind of audience.
One of the many things about it that really spoke to me was that it was based on an experience and a location and a place. I hope that the word gets out that this was done and it exists, and it opens up possibilities to other artists.
The technology that's available in a smartphone now is so powerful that artists are able to utilize the tools in a way that's kind of never been possible before. It's pretty cool because it's like it gives you, as an artist, it gives us a completely different way to think about writing music as something that's actually mapped for a landscape. This is interesting because this will be the first time we've actually tried this, so this might fail miserably. We're all gonna try this out together here. Did you get anything?
Oh, it's working.
You get it? Okay. You gonna just start walking? Got it. The idea wasn't to create an album as an app. It was really to create music for a specific location. And because of the phone's built-in GPS capabilities, it was just the best way to sort of realize that idea. But the process is totally different. I mean, writing, recording, and then plugging it into the app, walking the park, and then going back and doing it again and again until it's right.
The thing that really blew me away is just writing music is difficult. You know, if you look at the traditional song structure, it's like there's a verse, there's a chorus, there's a verse, there's a chorus, a bridge, a chorus, and you're done. And getting those very simple ingredients to link together, A to B to A, you know, and have it flow, is a tricky thing. But with 260 odd zones, and this zone, I mean, a piece of music here needs to dovetail into a music here, to music here, to music here, to music here. There's like all these contact points, you know, compositionally, that have to match. How did you even begin to tackle that?
Let's say this is a zone. Within here, it's completely dynamic and shifting as you move. So say this is one pocket, then this would also be a pocket, and then a pocket here, and maybe a very large one here, and maybe small ones. So it's kind of always, wherever you are, it'll always be sort of unfolding, and any way, any direction you go, works. I mean, it's a choose your own adventure of an album. Oh yeah, and if this is too much, turn this off. Maybe for this first take, just experiment and see what kind of comes natural. Like when you walk through the, it's kind of like a big forest, and there's a clearing. It's like a hill, like heavily wooded area.
Right. Yeah.
Sort of descends into madness, and you're going to be the madness part.
Hey, play that. I want to hear what it sounds like all the way through.
So this is like, we added about 20 strings just right now. But overall, we have like 40 with cellos and other violin passes that we've done. So that sounds like.
When we are asked what the music sounds like, or really how you even begin to create music for a place that, you know, belongs to everyone, how do you do that? The answer is that we can't. We hope that what we're making resonates, but ultimately, you know, this is just our interpretation.
Taking the vertigo of the early 21st century, and instead of like going, oh, the form is changing, fuck, you know, I feel like the message behind every Bluebrain project, at least my reading of it, is there's like the form is gone, hooray, like we get to make up our own rules.
Technology really creates this opportunity for disruption, and basically, you know, the disruptors are kind of like attackers, and they're attacking a traditional industry, a traditional way of doing things, and that's what makes it interesting. You know, technology just kind of upsets the apple cart. But
well, yeah, you've got lots of precedents. You've got Mozart's famous music game that was sort of set on a set of cards, and you could combine those cards into different musical structures. Lots and lots of other examples of algorithmic, generative, non-linear music scores that allow performers flexibility. So there's been a long tradition of that. The ability to deliver those kinds of interactions is new, and yeah, of course people will find a way to explore them.
I personally would be concerned, like, for your 12-year-old self, that you would have an iPhone. So my work, but I would want you to hear my work. That's just me, you know. Like, I think a lot of people, but I also understand that at the moment, like, there is no other like vehicle for it.
So this is actually the church that we grew up attending. It's kind of an amazing church. It's from like 1765, and what's cool about this is that we're going to be recording the organ in here and placing it kind of towards the north side of the park. But it's great. The organ's actually kind of built into the architecture of the building, and it just sounds beautiful. And it's really cool for us because we've actually, we've never gotten to play it before.
The word maybe needs to be challenged because application means something that does something else, and you apply it to something else. So continuing to use the word app may be a disservice to what you're doing.
That's what I'm saying. I salute it. I just don't know if it's an album.
Right.
I just don't know. It might be something. It might be something that you created. You know, it's a different body. It's a different concept.
Yeah.
But I think in a way, like, you're struggling about, like, well, how do you? It's an album. People should pay $8. You can't think like that anymore. But I mean, it probably if you're trying to figure out how to deal with things, you know, in terms of like, well, but it's an album. Don't worry about that. It just is your work.
I remember finding this painting that a relative of mine did in the park, like a relative I'd never met. And I remember thinking, we're essentially doing the same thing. That's what he made. That's what he saw as beautiful and was inspired to create, pulling inspiration from the same place. I don't know what format it will take in the future or if this will survive. I guess the future of any art made with these new technologies is hard to predict, but I hope what we're doing can survive. So, you know, maybe my kids or grandkids will listen and think, this is what they heard. This is what they were inspired to make in this beautiful place.
Working?
Check, check.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Lovely. Cool. Thanks so much for having us today. Hayes and Ryan of Bluebrain. My name is Chris. I'm with the Washington Post. And just to get started, I guess, just talking backstage, you guys were saying that this film about the making of your new app/album might have been had some loose ends to it, and people might have been confused by it. So what, you guys have done 2 location-aware albums, which I think is a really elegant way to describe it. The National Mall, which came out earlier this year, and now this one. What's your elevator pitch to people when you try to describe this wonderful work that you're doing?
Well, yeah, it is interesting because we've never shown this before. You guys are actually the first people to see it. Thank you. Thank you. So we actually have no idea if this makes sense to somebody, because the people that made this, they're familiar with the project as well. So I think all of us kind of at the end were sort of like, is this too abstract? Does this make sense what we are doing? So we'll see how that comes across. But yeah, I mean, hopefully how you described it is exactly right. It's a location-aware album. And we call it that instead of an app because we almost think of the app as just the delivery system for the music. It could almost be anything. It's just that the format of an app. Hey, Chad.
Chad Clark, ladies and gentlemen.
So, yeah, but that's kind of the pitch. Is it's an album as an app, but we call it an album.
Tell people a little bit how it works. Actually, first I'll get on my soapbox as a fan and just say that they released a thing called the National Mall. It came out Memorial Day weekend around that time when the weather was just beautiful and it was such a great experience. This is kind of like I had to borrow their iPhone to use it because I have a BlackBerry. Sorry to admit that. But as you walk around the National Mall, the music changes. As you cross the street, one song or piece of music fades out and dovetails into another. And it's this very immersive, intense musical experience. So I would say to anybody who has an iPhone in their pocket right now and you're in Washington, D.C. for the next 24 hours, download this because it's free and get down to the mall and try and experience it because it'll really change the way you think about how recorded music can be delivered. I wanted to know, it's been out all summer, and I wanted to know what the response has been in terms of music fans getting into it, technology fans or people who are interested in technology and how they're into it, and how you've sort of balanced the two, because I know that a lot of times it's really easy to kind of, we've talked about this, like seeing it as maybe a piece of technology over a piece of art, and how you guys
makes for a great date.
Oh yeah, it does make for a great date.
It really does.
Do you do like one earbud each?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
it's really
romantic.
sweet. It's a romantic experience.
Okay.
Seriously.
It's used as the iPhone or hopefully later on other smartphones GPS functionality to not just trigger sounds intermittently, but to actually sort of bring in things in and out seamlessly. It's sort of like walking through a musical soup that's constantly changing.
It's a very elegant experience. I mean, I highly recommend it. I agree. If you're here in town, like definitely.
Yeah. I think to answer your question, I think there's a lot of interest on the tech side when we first announced it and released it. But I think sometimes with these ideas, it's hard, especially because nobody really knows who we are, what kind of music we make, what it would actually sound like. So much of the pitch that I feel like I make to people who haven't tried it is just like, try it. I mean, it's because it's tough to communicate an oral idea. And when you're down there, I think it makes a lot of sense after 5 minutes of trying it. But yeah, as you can see with the video, it's a tough thing to communicate exactly what it will feel like or what it will sound like just with a static MP3 or with a video, because it is a dynamic thing that you can change as you're walking around.
I think you're right. I mean, a challenge for us, you know, when we released the National Mall, it was a lot of sort of theoretical interest in it. Like people wanted to write about it from tech magazines or tech blogs, which was great. But it was more about the idea of it. And we knew that to really get people to try it in the music world, we needed to do one that was a little bit more centrally located, like in New York, where a lot of these writers said, this is a cool idea, let us know when we can actually try it because we don't know who you are and we're not going to go down to DC for this. So, you know, the Central Park one comes out tomorrow. So we're hoping, you know, our vision and goal for this would be that it was, you know, understood as an album and not just a sort of tech novelty, but that people would listen to it, experience it, and maybe even review it as a work of music.
Right. And are you pushing that out there too? Because I know you guys are a DIY band in the traditional DC sense. Like, do you feel like that's something you have to stump for to kind of be like, I know this tech is cool and interesting, but don't forget the tunes. Like, do you feel as artists you have to push that as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think that has really been the challenge, is getting people to remember that it's music first. But you know, obviously, when you do something like this, there's a novelty element to that, and we certainly have enjoyed some attention because of that. But the challenge for us has been to make it really beautiful and an experience, or you know, that we feel like is worth trying again and again, and something that will last, like some of your favorite records. So that has been.
I think the fact that it's a work of art is pretty apparent to anybody who's. You guys have expressed this anxiety that you're afraid that people are going to not regard it as a work of art because it's interactive, and I think it's really apparent to the user, to the listener, that it's a work of art immediately. It's very sensual. Doesn't need to be explained kind of experience, which is the most impressive thing I think about it, is that all the technology drifts away and you're in this dream world that you guys have created. It's extraordinary.
Tell me a little bit about how you feel you fit in the larger field. I mean, we talked a little bit about this backstage. Björk, the very innovative Icelandic pop singer, has a new album coming out in a couple weeks. There are a couple apps tied into her album, kind of like as like bonus features, you know, some sprinkles or jimmies on top of the album, because it's traditionally an album, and you can. Apparently, I have not used this technology, but you guys have. There are certain songs that have apps tied to them, and you play along with some of them, and they kind of have a game-like sort of feel to them. I wanted to know how you feel about that work and how you feel your work compares to other people using app technology with their sound recordings.
I mean, I think it's great. I mean, we were big fans of a lot of the apps that Björk based a lot of her apps off of. Like some of them are instruments. So in one way, it's really amazing. But I think what we're more interested in is what we've sort of touched the tip of the iceberg on, which is an experience that doesn't really that solely uses I guess new input information. GPS is just one thing, but there's a billion ideas you could do with this. That is the work itself. And I think the one challenge for us is like there's no single, like because it's all kind of one piece. There's no way to there's no thumbnail image. So I think I like that, and I hope that more projects do that with similar technologies.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think we were definitely very curious to know what Björk was doing, because she announced like 8 months before.
And she's got money.
And she's got money, and we were like, shit, like this is going. I know it's going to happen here. We're going to work on this forever. She's got this big team, and we're going to have to, yeah, we're not going to be able to compete. But I think what you were saying is right. I mean, it's she is exploring the idea. What she's doing is putting out games and things that kind of work as complements to a traditional record. And I think the distinction we're trying to make is that an app can be a work itself, and you can use these tools in a way that artists really haven't been able to before. So.
I mean, in a way, it seems like you're almost bringing back, you know, it's tied to place and it's tied to technology. You're almost bringing back the concept album of, you know, the early Kinks or Sgt. Pepper or whatever.
Yeah.
Everything that this band does challenges the idea of form, and that's the thing that I find most inspiring about them. Like, this is an extension of other smaller projects that they've done here in DC that every work is not just a work, but a work that challenges the question of what is a band and what is an album, how does music interact. It's incredibly inspiring.
We have time for one more, and I wanted to ask you guys, you know, I talk to musicians a lot and say, what is the goal? And it's for my music to resonate, for people to care about it. Do you guys feel the validation through that sort of response? Or if this technology was adopted and, say, Radiohead makes a Location-Aware album next year, is that validation for you? Like, what do you want to see these works spawn in the future from your peers?
Certainly there's a selfish element of, like, you know, you want this to be your thing, but I mean, ultimately, yeah, I'd just be excited to know what other people would do with this or another idea. I mean, I think it's tough these days because a new idea might come out that's very innovative, and then other people feel like they can't do it because it's no longer, I don't know, branded as their own. But I would hope that some other people would try it. I think that I'd like to see other people's take on it.
Yeah, I think, like we were just saying, the technology that's is giving us new tools, and I think it hasn't quite switched for a lot of artists that they can use apps or these new technologies to not only promote their work but to create in a new way. And I hope to see people really experiment in ways that are much bigger and bolder than what we've done, but hopefully we've kind of added to it in some way.
I hope it looks primitive someday, you know? I mean, that's the fondest wish I have about it. I mean, that's with complete respect for the work, but I hope that in 50 years it's like looks beautifully, like, wow, this is what they thought, you know? Like, and I really do think it's groundbreaking in that way, that I hope someday it looks antique almost, you know, like, that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much. You know, it feels really great to be talking to you guys at a conference called The Future of Music. I think you guys are really on to a wonderful thing, and I recommend that everyone checks it out. It's a really powerful experience. Thanks.